Hi there, EXP agents. My name is Wilson Solomon. I'm Customer Success Manager for Lofty and for EXP. I have Jason Selecki with me, who's one of our senior onboarding specialists, as well as just a product expert here at Lofty. Thanks for joining me, Jason. He's going to
Good
be,
afternoon.
yeah, thank you so much. Well, he's going to be getting into websites. Or I know when we spoke on Monday, and I think even a little bit last week, had alluded to this coming Wednesday, getting into more around websites. There is a lot to cover, so we're just going to jump right into it with Jason. He's going to be sharing screen inside of Lofty. So appreciate all the agents joining us from EXP today. If you have questions, feel free to drop those into the YouTube chat or the EXP World chat. We will do our best to get to those questions throughout the training today. But do appreciate everyone joining and participating. I'll turn it over to you, Jason. And yeah, like I said, if any questions or things roll in, we'll be in communication.
Great. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to be here. John, do me a favor. If you feel that we should stop for questions, just let me know. Give me a hint, because I'm just going to keep going and going. So I'll count on you to do that. All right?
Sounds good.
Great. All right, everybody. We're in the Lofty dashboard, and we're going to go up to the top menu. And to get to our website dashboard or CMS dashboard, we simply just click on website. Now, we're not going to come into the dashboard right away. We come to this transitional page called Site List. There's some interesting things you need to know about this. First of all, more than likely, you're going to have a what we call a temporary domain. This domain is given to you so you can build out and complete your website as needed before you brand it with your own domain configuration. So that's best practice is not to put your domain configuration on here till your website's ready to show. Also, you will have opportunities to add agent websites for your team members. Effectively, those are going to be clones of this company website that you are completing. And I say completing because about 80% of this website's done for you already. It's relatively easy to put together. Those agent websites being clones, there will be some key differences. They'll be able to add their own contact information, their own social media links, and they can make adjustments to the MLS settings so that they're only showing the neighborhoods and the communities that they serve. All right, so for us to actually get to our CMS dashboard, the website dashboard, CMS, by the way, stands for Content Management System. All website editors call themselves that. We're simply just going to click on whatever domain is here. And this is our dashboard. Here is our key settings up here. We're going to go through some of these, not all of them. I'm going to show you areas. You should know listings. If your MLS is not connected yet, this is where you can go and review status. And we often put key information here for you to follow up to get yourself active. We'll be spending some time in the editor, but coming back to the overview, I also want to point out there's a lot of things that we're going to pull you through on this dashboard. It's interactive. Some things you should do through here. Some things you just may not need or decide to do. So don't feel obligated to do things you don't want to do. What we're going to do is we're going to start with settings. These are universal settings that you're going to set up on your website. Once we get through the settings, we'll actually go into the actual editor itself. I'll show you the navigation. I'll explain hierarchy of our website, and then I'll show you how you can make simple changes and how easy it is to do. So let's jump into it. Let's click on settings. Our menu will open up here on the left-hand side. First thing that I want you to do is I want you to make sure your final domain should be listed here. Make sure it's spelled correctly and entered correctly. If not, you can hit an edit here. If you edit it, Lofty will get notice of that, but your MLS should be made aware of it as well. Favicon, it's a great way to reinforce your brand. The favicon is a little graphic that goes up in tab browsers, whether your users are using Safari or Chrome or Firefox or Bing, it doesn't matter. You're going to put a little graphic up here on the tab browsers. Typically, what I suggest is click here. For adding, I have a public domain notice here. I don't have my own logo, but when you insert your logo, you'll get a very simple editor. It'll be a blue line. You'll have the opportunity to increase or decrease the size of your logo so it fits in that blue box. Center it correctly, and once it's centered, just go ahead and hit save. Let's drop down into organization info. Here is where you will see your team. You will be added automatically as the company owner or as the key person. If you're adding team members into your CRM, you do not need to add them manually on the website. Simply come up here to import from CRM. They'll all be listed here, and you can pull them over by clicking yes. It's important to bring them over because you'll want to introduce your team. There's several different places on the website you can do that where you can introduce your team and team members and their profile. Now, next to the import from CRM is this button, a pretty important button as well. I'm going to make two recommendations for using this button. The first one is you have somebody on your team that's an integral part of the team, but they don't require a seat on the CRM. But again, integral, and you want to make sure that the public knows that they're part of your team. You want to introduce them with your agents. You can simply click here. You're going to insert their first and last name, their contact information, upload an image. There is a place here to put an additional bio if they choose to do so. And once you save that, anywhere that you show your team members, your agents, you can show this display person only. There's no charge for this, and again, the display only shows on the website. The second reason I suggest using display only is I usually suggest creating your company name and creating a display only for that. The reason for that is that there are several places on the website we're going to brand it with the company owner's first and last name. In some cases, that may be acceptable. In many cases, it's not. So if you click again, add display only, what you want to do is you want to break up your company name between first and last. For instance, my company name is ABC Realty, so I'll type ABC here, Realty here. I'll upload my logo. I'll insert my general email address, info@abcrealty.com, a general phone number, and then I'm going to save it. This is the result, and if I click on the edit, you can see that's exactly what I did. First name, last name, email, logo. All right. Let's move into lead capture. Lead capture is a key tool. You definitely want to take advantage of this. This is a pop-up registration window, and we have it set on the listings page. So what happens is somebody comes into the all listings or multiple listings. They click on a specific listing to get additional information. What's going to happen is this window is going to pop up and require them to register. Now, that is this setting. This is our default setting, higher conversion. I'm going to make a very strong recommendation here. If you are doing any lead generation at all, if you plan to do lead generation, if you're spending a lot of time and resources sending people and getting people from social media to your website, I would leave this exactly where it is, higher conversion. You're putting a lot of time and money and effort into collecting those names. Be assertive and get it right up front. If you choose to use your website only as a marketing tool, just on a casual basis, you're going to allow people to come in, see who you are. You're going to use it kind of as an electronic I'm sorry, I'm losing it here. Name card. You could calm that down. You could come into custom. You can choose to have that pop-up window show after 2 or 3 listings. Please keep in mind, if it's on one pop-up, it's going to be the same as higher conversion. We start measuring that as soon as it appears. Or you can come into trigger by browsing time. We measure that in seconds. I usually suggest something between 90 and 150 seconds, and that's going to pop up when that time is up. So, but my strong recommendation is just keep it on higher conversion. All right, now let's choose our pop-up style window. We have 3 different windows. Two of these act the same way, but they look different. Our default is the single column. People are going to cycle through this information 3 times. They're going to enter their name and hit continue, email, continue. The last one is their phone number. They'll consent to be contacted and hit finished. The 2 columns again does the same thing, but it's a bigger footprint. In that additional column, we give them the benefits of registration. Personally, this is my favorite. And then the third one is a one step where all 3 fields are in the one view. They fill this information out, they agree to being contacted, and they click I'm finished. Now, choose the one that works best for you. We're going to move on, and I just have to tell you, when they hit I'm finished, they are truly not. There is going to be another setting, and it's called questionnaire settings. One last step. So a few things about this before I give my recommendations on how to set this up. All the questions on here are great. And by the way, we have 2 different versions of this. We have a buyer version and a seller version, just depending on how they identify themselves. The questions build into the logic of Lofty. They help qualify your leads. They are important questions. My concern is that this is your first interaction with somebody after collecting their name. They're your new lead, and these questions are cannot be turned off. They're required to answer. So I usually suggest softening it this way. One is you can allow them to close that window by clicking here. It'll add that X here, and they can just X out of those, and you can gather those questions later. The second thing is go through the questions and make sure that they're the questions you want. Maybe 1, possibly 2 can be held off for a time. Now, a few things in addition to that. More than likely, if you have this set up on the listings page, it's the buyer's version that's going to show. This pop-up window, the pop-up registration window can be set to another page. So you can set it to a home valuation page and identify those as sellers if that's what you choose to do. My recommendation is leave it on the listings page and identify these as buyers. There are other ways to get these questions answered through your own communications. In our smart plans, we have what we call conditional questions that address these questions. And probably most important is you can turn on your AI assistant to follow up with those leads and qualify them and get these questions answered that way as well. All right, let's move on. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to our chat box settings. Our chat box settings is how the AI assistant is going to interact with your customers when they're on the website. What it's going to do is prompt them and encourage them and engage with them to sign up on your website. Our controls on this are no longer in the CMS. What we will need to do is to change the profile or this name. You'll have to go back to the CRM. Now my tab for the CRM is still open here on the left. When I click in here, I'm simply going to go to settings. I'm going to come to the company level. I'm going to click on AI assistant. And here I can add or create any name I want, put any name I want in, and I can upload any image that I want. So I usually suggest not using a neutral name, not as a company owner. If you have agents and they set up subdomains, this chat box with your name is going to show up on their subdomain or their agent websites, and it will cause confusion. So usually I suggest using something neutral. The default name we give it is Anna. Some people put in their company name and put up logo. I would love to see somebody put in Robbie the Robot Realtor and maybe put a picture of the Jetsons robot in here. But any name, any image can be listed on your chat box. Let's go back. All right, now we are going to drop into tools. And we'll cover a few of these tools. First one is the integrations page. We've got 9 third-party applications that you can integrate with your Lofty website. Probably most popular is Google My Business. When I hit connect here, I can simply read everything that Google's going to do for me. And when I hit connect, it's going to just pull up my Google accounts, and I can choose the one Google My Business is on. If you do connect Google My Business, there are a lot of leads that do come through Google on this. Facebook Pixel is probably as popular as Google My Business. I like this one because it allows your leads or your clients to jump back and forth between your business Facebook page and your website. We do not integrate with personal pages. It has to be a business page. That's a Facebook parameter. What you're going to do is you're going to paste in a pixel ID that you receive from Facebook and hit save. To get that pixel ID, simply go to the Facebook business page, go to settings. I will just warn you, it's a little difficult to find. If you have difficulty, we have some instructions here as well. We do have other integrations that you can do if you're using Google Analytics or any of these other items. Feel free to go ahead and integrate those as well. Header meta tags are the first of 3 areas we have for social for SEO. We don't call this SEO, but I kind of have dubbed this SEO light. They are keywords you put into the header, so they go across the entire website. Keywords don't have to be one word, they can be a keyword phrase. For instance, if I were to enter my full name, I would put the space in between my first and last name. And to separate it from my next keyword, I would put a comma and a space. I will tell you, you have 1,000 characters, so you just can't be typing all day long. Keywords I usually suggest for this would be company name, company owner's name, agents' names, and the communities that you service. What the key item header meta tags do for you is when somebody's searching for a real estate agent in your area, they're going to give you a lift on that search and get you higher to the top of the page. Once you enter your keywords, please check spelling. And once you've done that, when you hit save, this is all going to turn to code. Please don't freak out when that happens. All right. One last thing I'll show you is language and currency. Here in North America, there may be a need for a second language, Spanish, French, or possibly a different currency. If you click here, you can click on Learn More. It's going to take you back to the marketplace in the CRM. You can review our programs and make your purchase. All right. Let's jump back into the overview, our dashboard. And by the way, maybe this is a good time. Any questions, anything? I heard a little pause there before. Any questions, anything I need to go back over and review?
Yeah, appreciate it, Jason. One of the questions, just a couple that come in through the chat. Let me see here. Can you create squeeze pages for a specific property or for a category? Home under, like for example, or home under $1 million or condos?
Yeah, and I'll get to that. I'm going to show you filters, and we can play around with that a little bit.
Okay.
Demonstrate that as well. That's
awesome. Awesome. This one's kind of just in general from Oscar. He was asking about if phone number fields include an international format. If you're importing in contacts with any sort of international phone numbers, is that possible, Jason?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. Can we show international phone numbers, or can we?
I think it was more like when importing into Lofty, if he has some leads that have an international format for their phone number, can they come into Lofty in that format?
That's a great question. That's kind of outside of websites. I am going to default back to you on that, and maybe we can get a tech team to
get him an answer
that question. Yeah.
Totally. No, that's great.
All right.
There'll be some other ones rolling in here, but for now, that's it, Jason.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to click into the actual CMS tool. I have 2 ways I can enter. I can hover over the thumbnail of my website and click Edit, or I can simply come up here and click Editor on the menu bar. Now, the first thing I want to show you, and most important, is this navigation bar, so you know how to move around in this website. And I have to say, this publish button is probably the most annoying and overwhelming piece on the navigation bar. It really throws people for a loop, and I can understand why. By the way, all CMS editors, whether it's WordPress or Joomla or other template-based products like ours, use this button publish. Um, People become concerned because they say, wait a second, if I hit publish and I'm sending this out for the world to see. Technically you are, but you're hopefully on that temporary domain, nobody's going to see it. That's why you make your changes on the temporary domain instead of in your own configuration. So let me demonstrate how this works. Let's say I wanted to punch up this title. I really want to make it eye-catching. So I can come into the block that it's in, the hero block, and when I hover over that block, I get this menu. I'm going to click on the editor, paper and pen. I know it's not the background I'm changing. I know it's not the search mechanism, so I'm going to change content, and I'm going to add some verbiage here. All right. We're really, really great real estate agents. That's a nice punch. I like it. I think that's going to catch a lot of eyeballs. Now look what happened to my publish button. It turned from that grayish blue to that bright blue. That means I can save this as an incremental change. So as I'm going through and changing and updating and editing my website, I want to hit this publish button often. I don't want to make a bunch of changes, get distracted, run out the door, somebody turns off my computer and all my changes went away. Save your changes often, save yourself a headache. Now, before I actually save these, I want to show you these two buttons on the navigation bar. These are the toggle buttons. And what they allow you to do is measure that change you just made. I can hit the back button and it goes back to what it was. And I can hit the forward button and I can just do that and make sure I really want that change. And you know what? I do. Let's hit publish and let's save it. Now, what makes that publish button even more confusing is right next to it is the save button. This save button is to save the entire website. And you definitely want to do that once it's published and ready to go, because if something catastrophic happens, you can always come back in here and click on a save version and pull up that version. You've got about 6 bullets in here, but you can always delete older saves and create new ones. Not a bad idea to save while you're you're editing this and you're not completed yet. Just make sure you understand that, save it as a work in progress or whatever the case may be. Next to that is this button here, allows you to create QR codes for any page. I'm on the home page, so I could create a QR code for my home page or post to my social channels. These two buttons do the same thing, but they just do them differently. It's important to remember you're making your changes inside a tool. And although it's a pretty good representation, you want to go to the actual internet and see what your changes look like in real life. So if I click on the atlas, I open up a whole new tab, and now I see what my website looks like on the actual internet. And if I click into the eyeball, it does the same thing, but it does it in the same tab that I'm in. And I simply just come back to edit to get back to my editor. Here I can set the page length of my, or the page width rather, of my website. It defaults to 1920, which is probably the most updated. So that's probably the one I would suggest. Unless you're selling a lot of homes to senior citizens, they might have older systems and maybe you want to narrow that down a little bit. These two buttons are similar to the internet buttons. When you're building this and completing this website, you're actually building two versions of it. We have the desktop version and we have a mobile version. So you definitely want to come in and check your changes that you do on the desktop and see if those changes look just as good or work on the mobile version as well. And now I'm looking at that change I made, and I don't like it. It's supposed to be a title and it's going across 3 lines. It looks more like a paragraph. I'm going to change that back. So I can either hit edit in the mobile version, or I can take it back to the desktop version, and I can go ahead and make that change back. And you may find that you just have to make compromises. You know, what really looks great on the desktop version may look terrible on the mobile version. So you're going to have to work between those two and make sure that they're done. And if you guys were observant, you may see one other thing that we'll come back to. Our background, any image that we put into our Lofty website, you can put a separate or unique image for the mobile version versus the desktop. You can take this image and crop it so it looks better on the mobile version, or you can put a completely different image in. The purpose of this is that we have two really unique orientations. We have a very landscape orientation here of the desktop, and the mobile version is very portrait oriented. So we give you that opportunity. All right, let's move on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down our main menu. The main menu here in the editor is these four icons over here, the vertical menu on the left-hand side. We'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way up. So here's our second version of SEO. This one's pretty dynamic. I like this a lot. And before I explain how to use this, what I want to do is make sure that everybody understands what SEO is. Because it was different 15, 20 years ago. SEO 15, 20 years ago, really there was more of a manipulation. You had a lot of agencies that were making money hand over fist. They promised their clients that they can get them to the top of a search. You know, top of the search being the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the case may be. And they were manipulating the search engines, and it would only work for maybe 1 or 2 keywords. And unfortunately, people use many keywords to find information. So Google was the first. They overnight changed their algorithm and basically drove all those guys away. Now, if you really think about what SEO is and what it should be, is keep in mind search engines are in the business of serving information. They want to put their best foot forward. So if they have 2 pages or 2 websites that basically offer the same service, they're going to choose the one that looks better than the one that isn't. It's subjective to them, but they're going to give it a measure and they're going to serve up the one that looks better to them. So SEO basically is just adjusting your website to what those search engines are looking for, so you get served at a higher level. Now, in this SEO, it's specific to a page, and what they do is they give you about 5 or 6 things that they review. I can click into title link score, and I can click on to improve, and it's going to give me some specific suggestions. In other instances, it might, when I hit improve, it might just pull me into an article. It's going to explain what I need to do, and I can follow those instructions. This is a neat tool. We also have keyword relevance. This is a neat tool, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to use this on your entire website. I suggest using it on the home page where you have a lot of content that you're adding. There are, in the About Us folder, you might have 1 or 2 pages there you might want to use it on. I would not use it elsewhere. Lofty has key control over things like the market snapshot and the listings pages and the profile pages. So you want to just use this sparingly on the pages you have a lot of control over, you have a lot of content in. All right, style. Style, first thing people ask me, hey, Jason, can I change my template? And yes, you can at any time. I don't recommend it. Once you start making changes on your website, we lock in the content that's there. So if I come into template and I say, hey, I want this template instead, it's going to show the same content that I have in my existing. And it's going to confuse the heck out of you. If you want to change your template before you've started making changes, go ahead. Once you start making changes, I don't suggest it. It's going to be confusing. Instead, I suggest coming into theme. Here you have universal changes you can make to the entire website for title size and primary text color, button styles. You can do it that way. You can also click into fonts, and on a universal level, change your font to whatever you need to. That's how I would make those changes. All right, these last two, before we jump into them, these are the heart and soul of your website. This is really where everything takes place. And before I explain these, I just kind of want to break down, give you my definition of what a website is. A website is a collection of digital pages that offer information, and it's controlled by a menu. You guys might have a better description, but that's how I do it. So that's all Lofty is. Our website is basically electronic pages. You have a series of pages in here, and you have a menu. And when I click into pages, that's exactly what it is. And above that is blocks. All our pages are made up of series of blocks. So here's our header block. Here's our hero block. Here's a block called CTA, which stands for call to action. If you think of Legos, that's all it is. You're just laying smaller blocks on top of bigger blocks. I can add any block into any page. I can add pages. I can remove pages. And that's pretty much how you're going to complete your website. So let's take a look at what we have here in display navigation. All these pages here are the pages that Lofty has laid up and put into your website that already exist. They're put in the order that they show in the menu. So here's my home page. Here it is in the menu. Here's my buy folder with content in it. Here's my buy folder here, sell folder, so on and so forth. If I just wanted to take my sell folder, oops, clicked into it instead. If I just want to take my sell folder and move it up above buy, watch my menu, sell now becomes in front of buy. So you can arrange these pages the way that you see fit. Now, again, this is your displayed navigation. Below that is hidden navigation. And hidden navigation is also part of your website. Think of an iceberg. Display navigation is above sea level. Display navigation is below sea level, but it's all connected. There are reasons to have hidden navigation. We store pages here. Lofty puts in details when somebody clicks on a listing or a property or your agents. We have additional detail in pages that we add to that connection. This is a great place to, if you're going to make changes once your website is published, to make the changes inside hidden navigation and pull them in. So for instance, a year from now, if I were to give my website a facelift, I wanted a new home page, I can simply click on that. Name it. And I can work on my home page and nobody can see the changes that I'm making. Once it's done the way that I want, I can simply swap out the pages. So that's another reason for it. A third reason is to pull people into these pages, you want limited distribution. It might be that you just don't want to clutter up your website and people can click on a link. Oops, I'm not in my real home page. People can click on a link and instead of taking them to an existing page that they can get to and navigate to, it takes them to a hidden navigation. They can review the information there. Or if I'm doing recruitment, which all you all will be doing after using Lofty for 6 months or so, you can create a page here as a semi-application, some information. You don't want anybody coming through your website seeing it, but you can take that URL in hidden navigation and send it out by text or email, whatever the case may be. Let me give you an example of how to change your website using pages from the hidden page. Watch my menu when I do this. This is a home mortgage calculator, simple mortgage calculator. You've seen them elsewhere. If I grab it and move it up here into display navigation, it's now added into my website. Now, I don't know that I would dedicate a whole menu link to a calculator page, but what I might do is grab this calculator page and add it to my buy folder. And let's go take a look and see what that looks like. Let's go to the internet. And we're going to come into buy, drop into the calculator page, and in seconds, I've added this whole page to my website. Okay. There are other ways to add pages. I kind of showed you when I clicked on home. If I click add page here, we have all kinds of templates set up for different opportunities, featured areas, reviews, home valuation, mortgage calculator. Maybe you have a different way of doing it, affordability. You can set up a calendar very similar to Calendly where people can schedule their own meetings. Here's that recruiting page that we talked about. Here's a blank page. I like this a lot because I can just from a blank slate create any page that I want to, put a banner in for the header or for a banner top and pull in the different blocks that I want to use. Last but not least, we also have a link page where we can pull in a link from an existing URL or website and we can make it part of our website. All right. I'm going to demonstrate how to add some pages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pages to this neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood is the folder in display navigation, but it's not here. The reason is I have no content in it. So a folder will not show unless it has content in it. For me to add neighborhoods, I'm going to need to make sure I have areas added in my dashboard. So let's go up and take a look. I click on areas. And I get this featured areas page. I can add cities and I can add neighborhoods or subdivisions. Let's do both. I'm going to add a city here. All these cities are in North County, San Diego. So I'm going to add a city called Solana Beach. All right. I do apologize. I just had my demo updated. They updated my MLS, but looks like it wasn't complete. Anyway, when I add an area like that or a neighborhood, it's going to add it to this to my featured areas. It's going to identify the length or the width or the breadth of that page. I'm going to need 3 linked pages for it to show my website. This information is basically information we mostly pull from the MLS. And if there's not enough information for that location, that city or that subdivision, if it's less than 3 linked pages, it will not show. And again, I can add cities or I can add neighborhoods or subdivisions. So I apologize, I'm not able to show that to you, but let's move on. Let's go back into our editor. We do have pages or locations that we can add. And since this folder is called neighborhood, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the subdivisions I have in my areas. So I'm going to click the plus sign. These are featured areas I want to do. I have 3 different templates for these pages I can use. It's going to present the same information just in different ways, different order. I like the map on top. And then I simply choose my neighborhoods that I want to show. By the way, strong recommendation. I would not show more than 4 to 6 areas in a featured area. I often come to websites and they have 20 or 30 locations listed. I think that that's confusing and overwhelming to your customers. Keep it to neighborhoods you have experience in or there's a lot of activity in or are highly desired versus just listing 20 or 30 pages. I'm going to hit publish. I'm going to come to my home page. And let's go on the internet and see what we've done. Did I go to the internet? No, I did not. So here's my neighborhoods. Let's click into Pacific Beach. And in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, maybe less, I've created 4 pages that basically look this way. So here's my map on top. If my MLS connection was correct, it would show me demographics, real estate demographics. I'm going to see market trends. I'm going to see housing detail, nearby locations, commute score, all kinds of different information that we have listed in these pages. So literally in a matter of a minute or two, we've created 4 new pages for our website. All right. Let's show you another way to use those featured areas. You can use them in blocks. So let's open up our home page. We're on it. Let's add a block. And by the way, there's 2 different ways I can add a block. I can click on add a block here as I just hover over. And I can simply go to the block I want to add. And I can click on it. Or I can just drag in a block and just drop it in anytime I want to. So here's our featured areas. Now, in a block, it's set up a little bit different, sort of, kind of. It's going to auto-populate for us. What I need to do is I'm going to make my featured areas here the cities, since I have neighborhoods up in the menu. So I'm going to hit the edit button. And I'm going to choose to show cities in North County. San Carlos is a subdivision. Tierra Santa is a subdivision. Point Loma. Let's just get rid of Oceanside because nobody goes there. And then I can add back the cities that I want to put in. So I want to show Carlsbad and Del Mar as well. So now I have a block for my featured areas. These pages I just created are the same ones I showed you in the neighborhoods. They have all that same information. I can dress these up and I can put key things that are key events or features of that community in here. So for instance, in Carlsbad, maybe there's a historical theater, well known. I can click on Cardiff, or Carlsbad rather. I can add an image. I can make alterations if I need to, and then hit OK. And now I can dress up all these different blocks and show key images of those communities. And when the customer comes in and clicks on these, they're going to be taken to those pages we showed you earlier. All right. Let's go up to blocks. What I want to do is I want to show you key blocks that you should be familiar with and that will be useful to add into your website. A lot of these blocks are already here. I'll explain that in a moment. But I like the agent block. Here you can add blocks and give introduce your team, give profiles, give information. We have all kinds of different templates to do this. Just choose the one that works best for you. Reviews are very important. We have a whole page of reviews I'll talk about shortly. I don't think it's a bad idea to have reviews in multiple locations, so I can simply drag that block here, and it's going to go ahead and add my reviews for me. Featured area we showed you. Media and content. I love these 2 blocks. Media allows me to add images and videos and a collection of those. I can put those anywhere on my website. Content is for storytelling. By the way, both at the top of media and content, the very first one is a great, both of these are great for banners for if you're creating your own page. But here I can tell different stories and I have different layouts. I can do a before and after, all kinds of different ways to tell a story, ABC, where my content is on the right-hand column and I have my, my title over here. So all kinds of ways in different presentations for telling stories. This is a great way to add content into your website. CTA, we've already identified as call to action. When I allows me to set up a link so I can pull people into an existing page that displays on my website, a hidden page on my website, or maybe even a page somewhere else, another URL. Forms will be the last one I show you. Forms are very important. This allows you to capture information when people fill out this form and they hit submit. This information is gathered and you're given an opportunity in your CRM. I do want to kind of give you some information about some of these blocks and just best practices. I'm going to go ahead and show you forms now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 4 changes you need to make on your website to make it a great website. But on this form page, I just want to show you and make sure that you're aware of this. You can add as many fields as you want. If you're collecting information, you're trying to get contact information, the less is more. In fact, I would usually either turn off phone or not make it required. And I can click in here and I can just turn off the required, or I can just delete it altogether. But what I want to show you is always make sure the name when you is set up as first and last name. If you have it just on full name, it's going to be one field and somebody can just come in and type in Joe or Steve and you won't collect full name. So always make sure that when you have your name set, it's set to first and last name. All right, let's go through 4 key changes you have to make on your website to make it amazing. 3 of these 4 changes are going to be on the home page, so let's start there. First one is your header. By the way, you can only edit header and footer when you're on the home page, although they do show on other pages. So when I click on the edit button here, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get my logo added. If I add my logo, please remember you have this slider so you can alter and adjust that size perfectly. You want to make sure that your font size is strong as possible. You don't want to make too small or too big. Other changes that you can make is in style. This is where you change your font. I can actually click on change style and I can choose a whole completely different header altogether and insert it. So first step of 4 is make sure you have your header set properly. The footer, for the most part, is going to be the same exact thing. There are 2 additional things in the footer that I want to show you, but it has everything that the header does. The 2 additional things you have is I have this custom content that's going to go below your contact block. Here I can put in a slogan or a saying or a message, whatever I want, and again, it's going to come under the contact block. I can also add disclaimers. So if you're required to add disclaimers, you can click here and add multiple disclaimers. And while I'm here, let me just show you what I was explaining about setting up a company profile display. Here is what this would default to. And again, I can change that to my company name so my name doesn't appear on the website. So change number 2 is footer. Change number 3, we covered quite a bit already, but let me show you the rest of it, and that is our hero block. And by the way, this is the most important piece of real estate on your website altogether. You want to make this eye candy so people are invited to come in and review your website. If I click on the edit button here, I have 3 tabs. Now, this search tab I'll cover first because a lot of our new hero blocks, we've just dropped the search tab altogether or we've simplified it. But here on some of the older ones, I can add buttons or I can change the button style to something completely different. You saw content, you want to make sure you have a strong title and a subtitle. And probably most important on this page is your background. Now we defaulted to a static image. That works. But again, if you want this to be eye candy, I'm going to suggest doing something different. In my background type, instead of a static image, I can come in and I can create a slideshow and have a series of images circling through. It has movement, and that's very helpful to get people into your website. You can also throw in a video as you want. And I have to say, the videos actually look really good on our website. They don't chunk up at all. I'm not crazy about video for other reasons. I think that people become more emotional when they see a beautiful kitchen or a sunken living room or maybe that beautiful backyard with that pool. But you can insert videos too, and they work really well. And again, keep in mind, we can set this all up and be completely different on our mobile image as well. All right. That is change 3. Make sure your hero block becomes eye candy. Now, the last change that I have is actually several pages. I talked about it before. It's in the About Us page. I have to say, when I go through and review people's builds and what they've done with their website, this by far is the most overlooked area, and it's probably the first area you should come in and make changes to. In the About Us page, we have, you'll probably end up with 4 different pages. There's one called My Team. Oh, yeah, it's there. I'm sorry. My Team, About Us, Reviews, and I think I killed Contact, or maybe I moved it somewhere. But My Team and About Us overlap each other quite a bit. Don't know that I would use both of these. I would choose one and pull the other one into hidden navigation. But on both of them, on this banner, you will see a placeholder called We Are Here. This is a placeholder. Make this dynamic. Make it interesting. Don't leave it as We Are Here. Additionally, this sentence can be expanded up to 2,000 characters. You can really put a nice information about who your team is, why somebody should choose you, a nice little bio. More than likely you have that and exists somewhere else. Simply copy and paste it here. You have Our Agent. I often come in and see Our Agent for a one member team. Make this, this is me, or whatever the case may be. And then here is your form as well. So clean up these pages in the About Us folder. Make sure that they're good. I will click into reviews because, again, that's often overlooked. And some of our banners aren't so dynamic. I would definitely change this background. And again, I would change We Are Here. I want to show you how easy it is to get reviews in. I'm going to click the button. By the way, I'm going to change this to something different. I usually have cool things people said about me. That might be a little too casual for you, but make this strong, make it meaningful. We have default choice for resource. If I have default on, I can click Manage Reviews, and I can create my own review and cut and paste or create it by hand manually. Or if I click into Review Source and I click the down arrow, I can automatically stream in reviews from Google, Zillow, or Rate My Agent. And you can do a combination of these as well. So please, please, please make sure everybody sees all the great things people have said about you. All right, I am going to call that a wrap. We have some time for some questions. If you guys want to throw anything back at me, please do.
Yeah, Jason, thank you. This has been great. I think this might have been just in something you recently shown. One of the guests in the chat said, what was the second thing on the website we should change? We have the header and hero block.
Yeah, the second thing is very similar to the header. It's the footer. So the footer pretty much has the same setup as the header does. You're going to make the same changes. You're going to adjust your logo. But when I come in here, I just want to point out again, I have custom content. This is content I can put below my contact block. So if I have a special message or a slogan, I can add that here. I can also add my disclaimers here if I'm required to put disclaimers in my website.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jason. This one's kind of maybe more subjective, just depending on the complexities. But a question from George was, how long does it take before the site becomes active?
So the site becomes active as soon as you configure your domain to it. There's probably like a half hour, 45 minutes wait. So it'll happen immediately. But here's what I suggested previously. Don't configure your domain to the website until you're ready to show it. Don't bring somebody to a half-baked or incomplete website. So my real answer to that is, how long will it take you to make these changes and customize your website and complete the changes that you need to make? I could probably do it in 2 or 3 hours because I've worked at Lofty for 4 years and worked with this product for a long time. Somebody coming in for the first time, give yourself a day or 2 or 3, depending on how much time you have each of those days. I would say 4 to 6 hours, you would have an amazing website.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. One other question here was, can you create automated market reports and send them monthly to the leads?
Yeah, that's actually done somewhere else. That's done in the CRM. It's not done through here. Let me just show you real quick. I'm going to go back to the CRM. I come into People's page. If I open up an account and go to my engagement page, I can have all kinds of different reports here. Some of those reports you can send over and over again, like the CMA report. Market reports, there's only so many you can send on a monthly basis. However, Lofty does give you the opportunity to upgrade your account and purchase more on a monthly basis. And these can be sent out so they go out on a specific frequency.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. We are just at time. I do appreciate all the agents that have joined today, questions that have come in. Jason did an awesome job with this training, getting into the websites and just everything that can happen, everything you can do within Lofty with regards to creating your website. So do appreciate it, Jason. Thanks so much for joining us, EXP agents, and we will be back live with you again next week. Thanks so much.